Okay guys, today's video, I bought a $300 truck, sight unseen. Let's see how bad it is. Okay, so we've got, I think, something like a 92 Chevy truck here. I don't know exactly what it is. Let's pop the hood and find out. Because the sticker's missing, I think. Oh, it's been painted over right there. But we can find out what it is under the hood, I bet. I don't even know what kind of engine this thing has. I'm hoping it's a V8. Yes, it is a V8. According to this, a 5.7, which would be a 350. So this is a 1989, which means it's a throttle body, and it should have one of the late 700R4 transmissions in it, which is fantastic. I love a 700R4. So 1989, it's pretty rough. It looks like it's been sprayed with spray paint. She's got some spots on it. So this is a extended cab, long bed work truck. And look at that toolbox. It is massive. This is the toolbox that your girlfriend told you not to worry about. All right, it's empty. Nothing in there except for a wasp nest that is empty, thank goodness. We have a broken mirror in the back. I did not do it. The rear bumper is okay. It's got a Reese hitch, which is good. The body work on this is terrible. It's got crank windows, which I love. Is this suspenders? Heavy duty work suspenders, yes. So I'm guessing that this guy was a carpenter or something. So the story I got is the man who owned this truck, he wound up passing away several years back. And his mom was hanging on to the truck. Well, it was time for the truck to go, she said, and she sold it to me. So $300 is cheap. $300 is real cheap. However, I want to know if this thing runs. So let's just kind of check. All right, the oil is close to the top. I don't think this is the original dipstick. I'm going to say this engine came out of a van. Usually the vans have the dipsticks this long, so this engine's been replaced, but it's not looking too good. It looks like it's been over. Oh yeah, this is real bad. This thing might have some problems. Yeah, it's been boiling over and stuff. It's got a rusty, looks like rusty coolant, which means probably been adding just water rather than coolant. This thing has 317,000 miles on it. Yes. There we go. Oh, whoa. That's cool. Nice little thing. Some napkins, a flask. Oh, this is cool. It's got the sliding back glass. They always leak. It has a key with it, which is awesome. So I'm gonna say let's put a battery in this thing and see what happens. So I think I have a battery in the back of the old Suburban here, so let's just swap it over and just kind of see what we've got. It's not looking good. I mean, however, $300. It's got a halfway decent front bumper. It's got a good grill, GMC. Most of my stuff is Chevrolet. The driver's door looks okay, apart from the paint. The passenger door has some body work in it. The crank window works, that's good. The bed on the driver's side is beat up. So this long bed is not really good. So we've got a good hood. We have good front fenders. We have a good driver's door. Got a good rear bumper. Got some good rims. Let's just hope it has a good engine and transmission. Because if it has a good engine and transmission, then it's worth what I gave for the truck. You know, the rear end could be good. It's leaking like crazy. That's not a good sign. So let's just put a battery in it and let's just kind of keep our fingers crossed. I don't plan on it cranking up, but because it's been sitting so long. But if it spins over and it sounds okay, you know, a good 350 core, that's worth some money. I just hope the transmission is good. 300 something thousand miles, I'm hoping they replace the transmission. So we're going to disconnect the battery here, and I'm hoping that I've got one in the trunk, and I do. Got one right in the trunk of the truck. So let's get the battery swapped over and see what we got. Ultra cheap battery, 90-day warranty. Pretty simple battery change. A refurbished battery. Ah. So I bought this truck from a friend of mine. It was in her grandmother's yard. And yeah, it was her uncle that passed away, unfortunately. Alright, battery's hooked up. Let's see what happens. Let's hit the key. Here we go. No way. No way. Sounds pretty good. Got a little bit of a misfire. Let's see if we can put it in gear. Power steering works. Whoa. Okay, so I was told that this thing has been sitting for 4 years. In fact, seven years. Do the lights work? I think that's his obituary. Holy cow. Okay. It runs. Let's I'm gonna put some coolant in it. It seems to have cleared up. So I'm gonna put some coolant in it because it is fall. And guys, I will see y'all in the morning because we're gonna air up the tires on this thing and we're gonna take it out for a test drive with some coolant in it. All right, it's the next day. Let's see what we can do to this thing before the test drive. I need to put some air in the tires. We're gonna put some coolant in it and top up the oil if we need it. Oh, and I guess we need to check transmission fluid level. Oh wow, this truck used to be green. Look at that color. I love that green. This is a beautiful green on the truck. Look at that. I bet you this was some sort of state truck or something. Okay. Let's see if it'll still crank up. Oh. Keys. They in my pocket? They're in my pocket. I cannot believe this thing is running. Doesn't mean it's any good though, but at least we can start with a, you know, the 350 in it is not knocking and it's not smoking. So if it has a blown head gasket, that's not a deal breaker. Freeze plugs, I did see some problems with the freeze plugs. Check this out. So we have someone installed the really so wrong rubber expansion plugs in the cooling system. That's no good. No good. I see a gasket on the intake, on the thermostat gasket. It's new. I'm wondering if they just took it out and put a rubber or a paper gasket in there. Since the cooling system is empty, I'm gonna take the upper radiator hose loose and I'm going to just look inside for a thermostat. If there's no thermostat, that can actually cause some overheating. So since I see that, I'm gonna go ahead and just verify before I fill up the cooling system with coolant. So flathead screwdriver, and yeah, that's it. So I am a little worried about a blown head gasket because of all of the coolant that I see, or all the brown that I see in the cooling system and splattered all over the everything. It does have a thermostat in it. I don't know how old it is. It can't be that old since that gasket looks like it's been replaced recently. So guys, I'm a little bit worried. Let's get this upper radiator hose back on and let's add some coolant to it. So normally I wouldn't want to put antifreeze in something that I just got that has, dude, there's chunks in this. Anyhow, I'm putting antifreeze in this thing because it's so close to winter, and if this has got a good block on it, I don't want to crack it during the winter when it freezes. So I am putting antifreeze in it because I just don't want to risk ruining a block. It is a 350, and I'm betting it's a roller cam block. And so it'll be a good core for a rebuild if I want to rebuild 350. Oh crap. So, ladies and gents, what we have here is most likely freeze plugs rotted out on the rear of the engine. So, I'm going to put some air in the tires. And we're going to take this to my house. We're going to do a quick test drive without overheating the engine. And see if the transmission is shifting. So this engine does need to come out. The biggest plan for this is, okay, so my plan all along for this was, fingers crossed, hoping that the transmission is good on this truck, because it is the later model 700R4. It's like the most desirable one. That's the toughest or the best built 700R4 that they made. I'm not saying the toughest transmission, because toughest transmission would be a 400 turbo 400 transmission, but the 700R4, I want to go in this truck right here. This is my 85 Chevy C10. It has a 350 transmission in it, and the transmission's acting a little funny. So if we got a good 700R4 in this truck, I'll snatch it out and put it in this truck, and I'll have a good overdrive transmission. So let's get some air in these tires and see what we got. I hate that the freeze plugs, you know, it could be a cracked block too, but I kind of doubt it. Usually on these 350s, if you don't have coolant in them, they usually crack down the sides of the block, and this one's not cracked down the sides of the block. It is leaking out of the rear, it appears. Is there any bypass hoses that it could be leaking from? No, I'm gonna say it's probably leaking from the, there's some freeze plugs in the back, and judging by the freeze plug up here being replaced with a rubber one, yeah, I'm very suspicious. Let's get some air in these tires. I've never really liked these really long trucks. It's extended cab, but the extended cab seems bigger than what I'm used to, because my dually is extended cab. It's not that big. And then we have a long bed, so this is a really long wheelbase on this truck. Let's see what else, other surprises we have here. Are we low on brake fluid? Oh, most definitely. We're out of fluid on the front one. Let's go get some brake fluid. Got some right here. Bingo. Let's see, probably use only .4, no, .3, which is good because that's what I got. Alright, so the oil is good. Power steering is low. I need some transmission fluid. But let's go ahead and put some air in this last tire. Throw away this bottle. Get some power steering fluid, transmission fluid, some ATF, and she'll be good to go. Apart from a leaking, yeah. She's full. So it probably doesn't have a blown head gasket unless he overheated it from freeze plugs. So I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that it's just freeze plugs that are bad on this engine. If that's the case, I've got probably a pretty decent 350 here. And I'm trying to grab onto all the 350s I can get, because they're fantastic engines, and eventually they're going to be hard to get. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do is crank this thing up, and we are going to check the transmission fluid level. Fires right up. Absolutely no smoke whatsoever. We're going to add some fresh fuel to this thing too, some ethanol free. It really proves that this engine's been changed. This engine came out of a van, because there's where you check the oil at, and there's where you check the transmission fluid. So definitely been changed. Oh, the fluid is spot on, baby. So transmission fluid is spot on, right where it should be. Since this engine has been replaced, I am a little worried about it being a 350 or a 305. So I'm just going to peek at the back of this engine block, and I just want to verify that it says 5.7 liter. There's a bolt back there that is causing problems. GM, there it is, 5.7 liter. So here we go, 5.7 liter. So this is a 350 in this truck, which is fantastic. And I got coolant just pouring out of the back of the block. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a freeze, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a freeze plug. But it's hard to tell. You know, I could have a crack at the back of the block or something. Kind of doubt it though. So now that everything's topped up, let's go take it for a spin and check this transmission. So we're going to be testing out the transmission on this thing. Let's test out the crank window. Hey, the crank window works. Let's crank it up. It goes into reverse very fast, which is good. I can't see nothing behind me. So I topped up the coolant, and it's coming out pretty fast. Let's check the transmission, shall we? That's first gear. Second, feels good. third. I think it went into fourth. The brakes are sketchy. Very sketchy brakes. Goes into reverse immediately. Ooh. Sounds like a drive shaft problem. Second. Shifting pretty good. Guys, I think the transmission is fine. Shifts through the gears pretty good. Yes. The brakes, eh. Let's check the power. Doesn't want to do a donut. Let's try power braking. It'll power brake. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I will catch y'all later. Happy Father's Day, Dad. That's it.